Hey y'all, welcome to Cornbread and Roses. This is your friendly neighborhood organizer, Austin, and I'm here tonight with Jason.
Hello, comrades.
And it's good to be here, folks. Good to be above the dirt and fighting for what's good out there. This is the most unprofessional podcast in the land, and the second, technically, well, I'm still going to say first. God damn it, the first socialist podcast in the state of Alabama. Me and Joy can fight about it. So
I wouldn't bet against Joy.
that's a fair point. And my back's not what it used to be either. So yeah, we're going to hit some memes. Conspiracy of the week. This week in socialist history, and hit some headlines about Maryland lands bill that's up for the next legislative session, and rural hospitals closures, and the loss of Jabari Peoples and what's going on with his situation down around Birmingham. So yeah, with that, and we're gonna hit some a boatload of other headlines. So yeah, let's go, folks. Let's see here. There's the button. You love it. We told the debt from the debt collective. We told Senator Britt this bill would kill working people, and she smirked as the elevator doors closed. Daily reminder: these people fucking hate you. Yeah. This one, I think this is from you.
Then I posted online.
Yeah. We can't just vote fascism away. The time has come to disobey. With a little cute little bunny with the bandana and a little matchstick. Be brave. That's right. Be brave, folks. And when you're scared, that's the only way, and that's the only time you can be brave. We've got Laura Toomer here. I wish people would condemn political violence against the right. Let's feed people to alligators. I don't have a Laura Loomer impression, but yeah, she mentioned about killing 65 million people.
Yeah. I don't think you have enough evil inside of you to do a Laura Loomer impression.
I wonder if face surgery would help with that.
I think you just have to give yourself completely to the dark side of the force.
Yeah. God.
In order to even try to do her voice.
Fucking scum.
Terrible, terrible human being.
Classic. Thin blue line shirt, pointing to Jesus. He should have just obeyed the law. Yeah. I had some other memes that I forgot to drop, but what are we doing? Maybe next week. Dems working on Project 2029. I'm going to create an agenda that is so fucking milquetoast. Yeah. Shout out to Cuck Schumer standing tall and changing the name of the budget that just got passed. Way to fight, buddy.
Whatever they come up with will involve means testing, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, his imaginary family. What he has some imaginary family that he likes to imagine. Whenever
he just makes up people to fight for instead of fighting for his actual constituents.
Yeah. Fuck it. That's some lunatic shit. Yeah. Like I'm not I'm not going to fight for the real people. I'm going to fight for the imaginary people inside my head, which, you know, if you do have some folks up inside your head and you are fighting for them, good on you. But this is totally different. We got Pete Keg's Breath. Our bad. We didn't destroy their uranium, only their copies of the Epstein logs.
Your Hexout sounds really nerdy.
I know. What does he sound like? I don't even know what he sounds like.
I don't know. I don't even want to find out.
Yeah. So we got who's this right here? I wanted to say it was Murkowski, but I know I'm wrong.
I don't think so. I don't know who that is.
Bro, she's frozen. She's realized she's not built for this. But I saw the interview, her getting interviewed by, or getting caught being interviewed in the hall and getting asked a question. But I can't remember what the hell this lady's name is. I don't think it's Murkowski. But anyway, yeah.
It might be Murkowski.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is. I remember her hair being darker for some reason. Maybe she got a glow up.
Maybe
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. We got from Bennett Cares. You treat the janitor with the same respect as the CEO. True, true. A goat whom? Come on, dude. I'm not going to guillotine the janitor. Yeah. True words. More in the same vein. Bang, bang, bang. The water is safe. Send more billionaires. Bang, bang, bang. I thought that was cute.
Yeah.
We are a little overdue for an orca assault, and it is summer, so we should be seeing this soon. There we got Tommy Motherfuckerville, and they were. I do like how they elongated his earlobes here, but there's nothing in here but us rats. Where he's got hate rat, racism rat, and ignorance rat. There's a fourth one unnamed. So some
rats.
Yeah, some unnamed evil that he'll come up with soon enough. And I'm feeling this one. This is one I'm really feeling right now. Me, raccoon between two trees, staying informed on the American dumpster fire. My mental health. Yeah.
That's the truth.
For real. This one, yeah. This one resonates, folks. And that folks is the memes of the week. We're going to hit up. Let's try this conspiracy. It's still processing. Let's see if this works at all. Maybe catch the first minute of it. Oh no.
Yeah.
Well,
you know better.
Yeah.
It looks. So I'm always keeping an ear to the ground when it comes to bio.
So close. So close. Get us some better internet, folks. Well, this is a 7-minute video, and to kind of sum it up, this post, you can read the title. I don't know if this is the right place to post, but we might be stepping into some forced human experimentation soon. So the gist of it is that we've got alligator Auschwitz, and about 45 minutes away, we got Miami University. Miami University, and this lady goes in to like defend the work of the doctors and research there, but they suddenly have like some Neuralink contracts apparently, and so she's over here trying to figure out, connect the dots a little bit about the chances of a brand new facility where people are black holed, and possibly them being experimented on. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, nothing would surprise me.
Yeah.
I mean, we're dealing with like just inhuman monsters. There's no limit to their depravity.
No, none at all. But yeah, it's a good little video. She went into a lot more detail about what's going on and everything. But, you know, like you said, I can't put nothing past these motherfuckers. I mean, Curtis Yarvin tweeted like today or yesterday about, you know, bringing back slavery.
I saw that.
Yeah. So we're certified Curtis Yarvin haters around here.
Oh yeah.
Fucking little Weasley motherfucker with his leather jacket from like 1973, trying to look like James Dean, the slaver. So yeah, clearly not working, not going to work. So that's the conspiracy of this week. It's a short one, but you know, keep your eye out. Oh man, Joy. Oh my goodness, Joy. You don't know who he is? We could do
Curtis Yarvin.
real quick. Like, he is the neo-reactionary dark enlightenment philosopher that Peter Thiel and Mark Andreessen and Elon Musk, they all love this guy and all his ideas about like turning the country into a patchwork of neo-feudal kingdoms, you know, turning people to biofuel if they're not productive. And he says that black people had it good during slavery. He's just a fucking villain.
Yeah. So the whole idea behind neo-reactionary, I mean, he means reactionary in the original sense of the word, opposition to the French Revolution. Like he wants to return to monarchy. He thinks monarchy was better than democracy and wants there to be kings. And he even said, like, oh, I think Ellen could do it. Ellen could be king once.
Yeah. So the scum of the earth. But yeah. So on to this week in socialist history. So starting, what was the last day of the month? The 30th. Lesbian and gays support the miners, founded in 1984. And this is a British movement, founded on June 30th, 1984. And yeah, it was an alliance of lesbians and gay men who supported the National Union of Mine Workers during their year-long strike from 84 to 85. They alone raised approximately $22,000, equivalent to 86,000, dollars, fucking pounds, in 2023, which, you know, that's about $150,000, something like that. This was all Thatcherism, which is basically Reaganism. But yeah, on the 1st of July, we have anti-colonial socialist Kwame Nkrumah, I hope I fucking said that right, becomes the first president of the Republic of Ghana in 1960. Was a Ghanaian politician, political theorist, and revolutionary. Served as prime minister of the Gold Coast from 52 to 57. And this is actually Francis Kwame. Kwame is actually Mamdani's middle name, because he was born in Ghana and his parents wanted to honor this man by naming their son after him. So it's Zoran Kwame Mamdani. But he's the first prime minister and then president of Ghana from 57 to 66, an influential advocate of Pan-Africanism. No, Nkrumah. Oh my God, I hope I'm saying that right. Remind me to do more research on names in the future. Was a founding member of the Organization of African Unity and winner of the Lenin Peace Prize from the Soviet Union in 62. On July 2nd, the slave revolt of the Amistad in 1839. Now, this is the wiki for the movie, but Amistad is a 97 historical drama filmed, directed by Steven Spielberg. I did not realize that. It's based on events in 1839 aboard the Spanish slave ship La Amistad, during which Mende tribesmen abducted for the slave trade managed to gain control of their captured ship off the coast of Cuba, and the international legal battle that followed their capture by the Washington, a USS revenue cutter. The case was ultimately resolved by the U.S. Supreme Court in 1841. Maybe that'd be a good movie night thing.
Yeah.
So on July 3rd, children of New Jersey textile mill strike for an 11-hour day and 6-day week in 1835.
Wow.
Yeah. On July 3rd, 1835, 2,000 workers, most of whom were children, went on strike from 20 textile mills in Paterson, New Jersey, to demand better work hours. Workers had previously been forced to work 13 hours per day, Monday through Saturday, and were regularly fined for minor disciplinary infractions. Although the strike was eventually broken, the company decreased workers' hours to 12 hours during the week and 9 hours on Saturday. So, yeah,
Treat you like this if they could.
Yes,
because when they had the power to do so, they did.
Yes, and there's a rich history of children unionizing and going on strike in the 1800s. We're very rich history in that. Like the newsies, the news agents up in New York unionizing at like age 11, 12. So whenever, and children, it's one of the things we're fighting for is for them to have a little bit better than we had. And for a while, that was happening slowly, painstakingly, frustratingly slow, but we definitely dropped the stick shift back down in reverse nowadays. Oh yeah. July 4th. Well, it is Independence Day, but also in New York State, they abolished slavery in 1827. So the wiki article goes pretty deep into it, as you can see, but full freedom in 1827 on July. Why does it say July 5th? Uh-oh. Hold on. The African American community celebrated final emancipation in the state with a parade through. Oh, that's when the parade was. Okay. A distinctive 5th of July celebration was chosen over July 4th because the national holiday was not seen as meant for blacks, as Frederick Douglass stated later in his famous "What to the Slave is the 4th of July" speech of July 5th, 1852. The memoirs of Daniel M. Treadwell, a native New Yorker who kept a diary beginning in 1838, including his recollection of formerly enslaved people associated with the family's Long Island homestead. The old slave quarters at our homestead survived to our day and were located about 400 feet in the rear of our dwelling. We remember them many years after they had ceased to be used as quarters for Negroes and when they were used as a shelter and stable for horses and cows. The old building had a thatch roof and the clapboards were of oak. It was burned in 1834. Slaves were manumitted in this state in 1827 by an amended act of 1811, which required that those of a certain age should be provided for during life with a home on the estate. We distinctly remember two of them who left home every spring, tramped all summer, and invariably came home in winter to board. So, yeah. And this 1811, the years between this, right? They started working on this in 1811, and honestly, like before the United States was a country, there were slave abolitionists and enslaved folks fighting for their freedom. You know, I like to say that the American Revolution started in 1712 with a slave revolt in New York. You know, 1776 could be argued as something a little different, you know? So, yeah. Something this country desperately needs. National Health Service, established in the UK in 1948. This is basically what so many people need in this country, like every person needs in this country, left, right, middle, whatever, but a single payer national health system. And, you know, you see like they constantly are fighting to destroy it currently. And actually, I think there's actually a new party forming in the United Kingdom that's breaking away from the Labour Party to fight against such things as this. But yeah, the NHS, a model for socialized healthcare, universal healthcare, whatever the fuck you want to call it, born in 1948. And today, July 6th, Eugene Debs arrested during the Pullman strike in 1894. So we should do like a whole big show. I want to get a daggum biography of Eugene Debs, be honest. But Eugene Debs, American socialist, political activist, trade unionist, one of the founding members of the IWW and Industrial Workers of the World, and a 5-time candidate for the Socialist Party of America for the President of the United States. Early in his political career, he was a member of the Democratic Party. He was elected as a Democrat to the Indiana General Assembly in 1884. So that's 10 years before he got arrested. And he got arrested a lot, from what I can tell. As a matter of fact, he was in prison while running for president at one point. But yeah.
The government made it a crime to criticize America's entry into World War I. And Eugene Debs said we shouldn't enter World War I. And he was imprisoned for it.
Yeah. Yeah. But on this day, it was the Pullman strike that he got arrested for. And there was 2 interrelated strikes in 1894 that shaped national labor policy in the United States during a period of deep economic depression. The late post Civil War to early 1900s, like 1905, I think, has actually been called the Long Depression because of how many depressions, because of lack of regulation and what have you, occurred. But first came a strike by the American Railway Union against the Pullman Company's factory in Chicago in spring 1894. When it failed, the ARU launched a national boycott against all trains that carried Pullman passenger cars. The nationwide railroad boycott that lasted from May 11th to July 20th, 1894, was a turning point for U.S. labor law. It pitted the American Railway Union against the Pullman Company, the main railroads, the main labor unions, and the federal government of the United States under Grover Cleveland. So yeah, strike is our superpower, folks. I don't see us making much headway in this world without us getting together and getting some massive strikes done. It's a cheat code to freedom, to be honest. So yeah, that's this week in socialist history. Did you have anything, Jay?
I had a few things.
All right.
So speaking of labor history, so here's a funny story. Today is the anniversary of the first time the word scab, meaning strikebreaker, appeared in print. So that was in 1777.
1777.
I'm sorry, yesterday was the anniversary.
Yeah.
So the word scab, meaning strikebreaker, was used in print for the first time. One of the most important words in the working class vocabulary.
Absolutely. Was it like an acronym or what? Like, I always, I love etymology, so like I'm wondering where it like came from. You know what I'm saying?
So basically, by the late 1500s, the word scab had become to be an English insult. So at some point, it began being used by workers in industrial disputes as a label for workers who cross picket lines.
Gotcha.
So,
and I'm guessing it came from a scab on the skin. That's how you are,
Right. So first it was a general insult, and then over time it came to use a strikebreaker, but it's not an acronym or anything like that.
Gotcha. All right. Well, what else you got for us?
So, somewhat sad news, but we talked about Marsha P. Johnson when we talked about her role in the Stonewall riots. She's credited with casting the first brick,
right,
at the police. Well, on today, on the 6th, in 1992, her body was found in the Hudson River after a suspected murder.
Damn.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. But I think it's important to honor her life and her memory as much as we can.
Yeah, verified badass hero, legend.
Absolutely legendary activist. Yeah. So, and in San Francisco, today is the anniversary of the foundation of the Lavender Panthers, a group of armed street vigilantes who patrolled San Francisco to defend the LGBT community amidst increasing homophobic violence.
So more people need to know about them. Like, I've heard of them, I read a little bit about them, but yeah, that's a good bit of history right there. I swear, Jay, me and you, we can sit here and talk all day, every day about so much history of activism and organizing that has occurred. It's endless. It's endless. Hopefully, as things move forward, as fascism is rising, anti-fascism is rising as well. I see a lot of different communities organizing across the country and fighting back. I saw a group of ICE folks get it looked like pepper spray or bear spray or something. So yeah.
There you go.
I think it was in Arizona, Tucson, is out in Tucson. They did that. So is Arizona considered a red state?
I don't know how they voted last time.
So with the big beautiful bill, no segues here, folks, none at all. With the big beautiful bill, there is a number right in front of my eyes: 760 hospitals at risk of closure, state by state. So yeah, and that comes from the Center for Healthcare Quality and Payment Reform. Rural hospitals at risk of closing. Over the past decade, more than 100 rural hospitals have closed already. And as a result, millions of Americans who live in those communities no longer have access to emergency room, inpatient care, and other hospital services that citizens in most of the rest of the country take for granted. So Alabama is at 67 counties, and 54 of them are rural. And if we look, I couldn't find a by name list, but there's approximately 28 hospitals at risk of closing and 23 at immediate risk of closing in the next 2 to 3 years. And yeah, so that's the thing is one of the things is like this bill that just passed, like nothing, it's not a switch, right? Like maybe for ICE getting their money, it's a switch. But it's not a switch. It's not automatic that all this stuff is going to happen. And actually, if I can find it, let me check real quick. I can just read that a lot of the things that are coming through with this bill, they're delayed. Yeah. So the cuts coming after the election: Medicaid work rules, December 2026, food aid restrictions, late 2026, clean energy credits in mid to late 2026, student loan changes gradually by 2026, affordable housing cuts phased in post 2025, rural hospital funding declines starts 2026. And this is why is it delayed? Politicians want your vote before you feel the impact. The harshest parts are hidden until after ballots are cast. And by then, it's harder to stop. So, yeah, they've got a little delayed fuse on this situation. Yeah. But you still with me?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening.
Oh, don't let me moan on too long.
No, it's all good. I didn't prepare on this topic.
Well, I did. Yeah. That was about all the data. Well, if you look right here, Alabama hospitals closures since 2015, 3 inpatient service closures, 3 open rural inpatient hospitals, 47. Let's see, hospitals with losses on services, 29, a 62% chance. Hospitals at risk of closing, 28, a 60% chance. Hospitals at immediate risk, 23, with a 49% chance. So, unless we decide to tax the rich in Alabama, we're going to see some hospitals disappear and people die. I mean, they have an emergency situation. The logic follows that they will die. So yeah.
That goes to show you the limitations of single-payer healthcare. Like, as much as I support single-payer healthcare, like, it doesn't do you any good to have insurance if there's no hospital for you to go to when you need it. So I think ultimately the government is going to have to be running hospitals. Like, we're going to need like an NHS system.
Yeah. Yeah, because they'll, it's not as profitable or whatever the fuck bullshit, you know. Human life is priceless, and we put a price on everything in this country. And yeah. So the big, where are you? Oh my goodness. But you wanted to talk a little bit about Maryland lands. If I can find it.
Yeah, so I was happy about this. It has little chance. It probably has little chance of passing, but I think it's worth pushing for.
Yes, I think it's excellent, and now, honestly, like, it's not too well. Let's read. New bill would give citizens an avenue to directly petition for laws. Citizens could bypass lawmakers and get new laws placed directly on the ballot for a vote by the people. That is about as direct democracy as it comes. You know what I mean? But State Rep Maryland Lands, Democrat out of Huntsville, has pre-filed a bill for the 2026 legislative session that would give everyday citizens the power to initiate general laws and constitutional amendments. House Bill 14, self-titled as Alabama We the People Act, would create a process for Alabama citizens to put forward proposal for new laws. I am all for this.
Absolutely.
As a matter of fact, we should start annoying our representatives now on this topic.
So you can get a preliminary proposal if you get at least 1,000 Alabama citizens to sign a petition, and you pay $1,000 filing fee to the Secretary of State. So the filing fee is refundable if the proposal is adopted. And the filing has to be made in the name of an individual qualified elector who would serve as the registered agent responsible for the filing. So you would sign your name to it, and then the Secretary of State would then check to make sure that all of the people who signed the petitions were on the voter rolls. But basically, then, if you want, you can have the proposal be fleshed out by the Alabama Law Institute along with an official summary within 90 days of the request. So once the full proposal and summary is received by the Secretary of State, it would be published on the Secretary of State website throughout the next regular session, at least 90 days. So then the proposal would go to lawmakers at the start of the legislative session, and any lawmaker would have the opportunity to sponsor the proposal and take it through the normal legislative process. But if no lawmaker sponsors a proposal, the citizens will have one more chance to push the law out for referendum. Once the session is over, the registered agent may begin to collect signatures for a final petition. So the final petition, you have to get signed by qualified Alabama voters, at least 7% of the total votes cast for the governor in the last preceding gubernatorial general election, which is not generally a very large. Well, no, I think we get the most turnout for our gubernatorial elections. They're midterm elections, so probably not as much as the presidential election gets, but probably a few more. So it's not an insurmountable hurdle, is the point. And each petition must contain a minimum number of signatures of qualified Alabama voters from each congressional district in the state, equal to 1% of the total votes cast for governor in the last preceding gubernatorial general. So there is a little bit of so you have to get something from each congressional district in the state.
Right. 7.
So you would have to mount like a statewide campaign in order to get something done. But if you make this happen, the proposal goes in front of both houses, and they treat it like any other piece of legislation, except lawmakers couldn't alter or amend the bill, and it does not require the governor's signature.
And if they don't decide to adopt it, it automatically gets placed on the next general election ballot by the Secretary of State. So this is, it gives lawmakers an opportunity to just do the right thing, right?
Right. But there's a mechanism to force them to do the right thing if they won't.
Yeah.
So in a state that lacks home rule, that lacks any real meaningful alternative at the ballot box, and basically a one-party state, we would have the ability to get laws passed. And I suspect that we could get quite a few progressive pieces of legislation through this using this method if this bill passes.
Yeah. I would be over the moon to see this pass, because there's a lot of states that already have it where ballot measures can come on. Actually, DSA has support for ballot measures at the national level. Like, you don't have to just run for office to get support. You can also get support by running ballot measures. So we need the support prior to the ballot measures, though, clearly. So I think this would be something we at least need to start educating the populace on this. But shout out Maryland Lands on this.
So Joy says it gives asks if it gives the lawmakers an opportunity for doing the wrong thing too. And I think it's hard to say. Like you could see it being used for bad things, but I feel like when it comes to passing reactionary legislation, our legislature is already doing that sort of thing pretty aggressively.
Yeah. And I mean, to go back to like that 2022 amendment abolishing slavery that 76% of Alabamians voted for, like, I think the working class people are a lot more together on things than folks realize. You know, there's working class folks are for Palestine. Working class folks are against bombing Iran. Working class folks are for Medicare, Medicaid, single payer healthcare, whatever. And I could go, and trans rights, like, on and on. It is not the people that are really divided. It is the rhetoric, the people in power, the parties that create this illusion and strategy of divide and conquer. And you know what I mean? Like, they're definitely trying to divide and conquer us, but also, like, there's an illusion that they have to uphold, right? Because we agree as a country on a lot of things. It's just the people in power, they want their APAC money. They want forever wars. They want to privatize every possible thing. They want to repeal child labor laws. They want to make ICE bigger than the Russian military. You know, it's just, it's the people in power. It's not the people, you know.
I suppose another concern might be that the kind of people who are poised to be able to run a statewide campaign might be wealthy interests. Like, I could totally see the gambling interests being able to run statewide petitions and statewide advertising campaign in order to get gambling in Alabama. And that's the tip of the iceberg.
I could see us taxing all the billionaires out of existence as well. Although we only got one, I think, in the state. I think it's that Reigns fella. Like, got a lumber yard. That's the only one I've found so far.
But they've had referendum systems in places like California, and it doesn't seem to have led to a mess out there. But I could be wrong about that.
Yeah. So, yeah, Maryland land seems like a real one. I think her background is in the healing arts, if I remember correctly, and it seems like she, she's I don't know, my age, maybe a little older, but she definitely doesn't seem full of shit. As with a lot of Democrats.
She ran on a full-throated support for reproductive rights, which I respect, and won on that issue. So,
yeah, and Joy says she is a psychotherapist. Yep.
yeah, I think she's been on Joy's show a few times, which is HSV Progressive.
Yeah, shout out HSV Progressive. I think I have a guest spot there tomorrow. I think I owe you a text. It's been a day for me. If you don't hear the normal rambunctiousness in my voice, but we shall persevere. So yeah, not to jump back, but there's an article about Medicaid cuts devastating for the Delta and the rest of rural America. It says would cause 11.8 million Americans to become uninsured by 2034, but I've seen 16 million. But it also reminded me that during the Biden administration, the COVID things that were put in place, Medicaid removed nearly 25 million Americans. And, at one point, it seemed like COVID could have really had some permanent legislative effect. But so, yeah. So as a reminder, it's not just the Republicans, it's the Democrats too that like this privatized healthcare stuff. Also with this big, beautiful bill, Alabama schools to lose 68 million in federal grants under Trump's freeze. So yeah, they're trying to stop 7 billion in grants for personnel and after school programs, and that Alabama would lose 68 million. The programs are already earmarked by Congress, include programs integral to successful and supportive schools across Alabama and districts, and have planned for the 25-26 school year, with an exception that these formula-based funds would be flowing as normal. I actually, at a parent-teacher conference, asked about this, and several months ago, about them cutting off schools funding and stuff like that, and they didn't, like so many Americans, didn't believe that it was going to happen or whatever, and lo and behold, here we are. So yeah, Department of Education informed states on Monday that it would withhold 6.8 billion in grants one day before they were due to be sent out. So get in touch with your folks at school, and get in touch with your local congressional and senators and stuff, and see what the hell their thoughts are on this. And yeah, there's all kinds of programs affected. STEM programs. Look, here we go. Migrant education. English language acquisition. So yeah, grants geared towards adult education and literacy, after school programs, before school programs, STEM. So Yeah, all to make us dumber and more malleable. So yeah, some more fallout from the Trump administration directly affecting folks in Alabama. So I got a grip of headlines, and before we did that though, I wanted to make sure we talk about Jabari Latrell Peoples. There's actually an event today, and what can you catch us up on with what's going on with his absolutely heartbreaking situation for his family?
Well, just to start off with, if you don't know what happened, so Jabari was in Homewood on June 23rd, 2025. So just this past June 23rd, when he was approached by police investigating what they called a suspicious vehicle. So he was just sitting in his car at the Homewood soccer complex. I believe he had a young woman with him. And officers claimed they smelled marijuana, ordered the occupants to exit, and they alleged that while they were trying to handcuff Jabari, he struggled and grabbed a handgun. After that, he was shot once in the back and died at UAB. So
and this is what whenever the police are involved with shooting somebody, they like to claim all these things. There's a rhythm to it where they get out in front of the media and put out whatever misinformation that they've decided to go along with. You'll see it time and time again. It'll happen again.
and the news media just repeats whatever the police tell them as though it were fact.
Right. It's police report versus police claim. Right.
Right.
But
so according to witnesses, Jabari was shot in the back. First of all, that he was unarmed, cooperative, and shot within seconds of exiting the vehicle. So they have the video, but they're not releasing it. So they haven't shown the family and they haven't shown the public the video. And this is kind of strange. Like, I don't necessarily care if it gets released to the public. I personally don't necessarily need to see another young black man die. But the Alabama law enforcement agency is claiming that it's an ongoing investigation and they don't want to show it. So, but they've done it before. So 7 years ago, when Hoover police shot Emantic Bradford on Thanksgiving night at the River Chase Galleria Mall, he died on the floor of the mall. One of the bullets went into his face. Like, it was an awful situation. Within a week, they had released the body cam footage to the civil rights lawyer that the members of his family had retained. So they've done it before.
Yeah, and one of the interesting things to remember is that the Alabama Supreme Court ruled that this body cam footage, which all these lawmakers push for transparency and accountability and stuff like that, the Alabama Supreme Court ruled that they don't got to show it. They don't got to give it up. They don't got to do nothing with it. Like, it's so, yeah, that's the state's opinion of accountability and, being, truthful to the public about what's going on.
So the Black Lives Matter, and I think the family of Jabari Peoples has called for the video to be released, at least the family. So, and they organized a number of events related to that, they held protests in the city hall at Homewood, and they've called for a boycott of Homewood. So if you are out spending money in the Birmingham area, avoid Homewood.
Yeah. Once again, our economic power collectively is unstoppable. Strikes, boycotts, etc. And there was an event to go ahead.
They didn't even call his family when they had killed him.
No.
Like they found out by watching the news
Yes.
that their son and brother had been shot.
So Corey's asking, did they get the video? As far as I know, they still don't have the video.
So yeah, they have it, but Alea won't release it to the family. That's
Yeah.
the question I was answering when I was talking earlier. I'm sorry, I should have read the question.
Oh. Yeah. Corey says, I hate when politicians say they're being accountable and then don't give us any real information. Yeah. And we actually have a little article on that we'll get to, but their family had an event today, July 6th at 2:30 in front of Eugene's Hot Chicken, but they're meeting Tuesday, July 8th at 5 p.m. at the Homewood City Hall, 2850 19th Street South, Homewood, Alabama. And I know Black Lives Matter is helping the family with this stuff, but there's some other organizations in Birmingham that are supporting and going out. Pretty sure DSA is. I don't have a confirmation on that, but I know it's going to be a lot of folks. I'm expecting a lot of folks there.
Right, and the family is calling for the body worn camera footage, the complete incident report, and the names of the officers involved, none of which has been released.
Yeah. Oh. So some of the other there's I want to try to get to some other events and training that are going on. There's Good Trouble lives on in Birmingham, Thursday, July 17th from 5 to 8. Good Trouble lives on is a national day of nonviolent action to respond to the attacks posed on our civil and human rights by the Trump administration and remind them that in America, the power lives with the people. On July 17th, the anniversary of Congressman John Lewis's passing, we're taking action across the nation, across the country, can I read, to defend our democracy and carry forward his legacy of good trouble. From voter suppression bills like the SAVE Act to the criminalization of protests, the Trump administration is launching a full-scale attack on our civil and human rights. So yeah, this is more than a protest; it's a moral reckoning. So yeah, that's in Birmingham, Horton Enterprise Studio, 1111 Fifth Avenue North, Birmingham. Thursday, July 17th from 5 to 8. If I can find what I'm looking for, there was an event in Memphis that the civil disobedience training sign up has reached max capacity. I think that was supposed to be on the 12th up in Memphis. And yeah, so if you wanted to go, you're going to have to catch the next one, which I find this incredibly heartwarming because, it's full. You know what I'm saying? It's full up. Like, right. And there's at least there's several people from Alabama going, several people from DSA going, and other organizations. There's also a medic training that I believe is filled up as well late this July, a 20-hour course given by at Atlanta Medic Collective. And yeah, so trainings are happening. And if you need some help finding some training, contact us. We'll be happy to get you squared away. But there's always trainings going on. I believe you can't train enough. And yeah, the medic training that's going to occur, that's think that's going to really empower Alabama to be able to carry on with their own trainings and train people throughout the state. Let's see. If you're looking for a job or know somebody out Anniston way, the West Anniston Foundation is hiring. Work and learn with us to improve health and the environment in West Anniston. Multiple positions. Do not, but if you, dadgum, just look up the West Anniston Foundation, y'all know how to click on things. But yeah, all the people of the West Anniston community should have access to clean air, land, and water. By protecting and cleaning up the environment, we also improve public health and prepare for a more sustainable, resilient future. And this is near and dear to my heart as I'm from there, and I love my hometown. And West Anniston, there's was misused by Monsanto Corporation, which I think is Solution now, but they dump toxins all throughout that area. There was a center for cancer spikes in, abnormally more cancer in the area. And yeah, so there's people working on trying to clean it up. There's recently like $70 million that was allotted for the area, but it will literally take decades to clean up. We need more environmental janitors out there cleaning up all the mess from the last 100+ years. So yeah. We also got, let's see here. There's a lot of events taking place all over. We just mentioned the Good Trouble stuff. This is in Dothan, Good Trouble, Thursday, July 17th, 5 to 7 at the Houston County Courthouse, 114 North Oaks Street, Dothan, Alabama. We got another event. This is a counter protest, People Over Profits. This is up in Chattanooga. The protest, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she just can't get enough coming. She can't just stay her ass in DC or Georgia. She got to go visit places. And Tim Burchett, Lincoln Day Dinner, Saturday, July 12th at 5 p.m., 1200 Chestnut Street, United Volunteers of Tennessee.org or UVOTN.org. Some other events coming up. Well, hold on. Before we do that one, we got, if you're so interested, this is from the DSA up in New York City, but they're having a mayoral race debrief on Monday, July 14th, 2025 at 6 p.m. It says 7, but I got to do that math. Is 6 p.m. Central, and it's at the First Unitarian Sanctuary up in Brooklyn, 119 Pierpont. I don't think any of us are going to be able to make it up there, but we can at least go to the event. So if you want to attend the event, there's a sign up, and it's they're having all kinds of good stuff going on. Block party. Oh, they just had the block party. But yeah, if you're interested in how his election was ran, I highly suggest you get with it and listen and analyze it. We got some other things coming up. Emergency protest. Mobile says ICE out of our city. Let me see if I can get closer. This is Sunday, July 13th, 2025 at 2 p.m. at 60 St. Francis Street in Mobile, Alabama. ICE wants to put people in tent camps. Castell Enterprises and Rapid Deployment Inc. are helping them. This is a couple companies down that way. Let's see here. Did I show that? Did I share that tab, that last tab?
I don't think you did.
Oh, shit. I ain't going to repeat myself, but there, it's real. Sunday, July 13th, Mobile. Yeah. We got, see, the unprofessionalism always shines through.
It's our
We
shtick.
got an event July 11th. Yeah. Maybe we'll get t-shirts. Join us, second annual Restore Games, a community event promoting unity, mentorship, and youth violence prevention. This is at the Bill Harris Arena in Birmingham, Alabama, Friday, July 11th, 12 to 4. And I did hear that there's been a 50% drop in violent crime rate in Birmingham since last year. So that's good to know. I think that does not about cover it, because we're going to talk about this real quick. That somebody I know was at. You were at this today, right?
Yeah, and so was Joy. So I couldn't stay for the whole event. So Joy very kindly filled in for me, but she was there while I couldn't be there. So yeah, we were tabling on behalf of the Green Party, and DSA was there, and At the Root Collective, and a bunch of other comrades. So it was a good time. So it was, first of all, it was indoors, which was nice because it was 100 degrees outside. And yeah, I'm terrible at estimating crowd sizes, because I thought, oh, there's 1,000 people at this No Kings event, and there was like 4,000 people there. So I'm going to say there was at least 200 or 300 people there.
Outstanding. Alabama's fourth annual.
And it was a good crowd. It was a good vibes, good atmosphere. The Rusks showed up, of course, and they had a few more of their fellows in tow. But people went out and shouted rude things at them, and they went away.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
And as Joy says, whenever people protest for Palestine downtown, the cops tell us we're not allowed to have a bullhorn, but the Rusks are allowed to have their bullhorn. What's up with that? Joy was talking about that this afternoon.
I just assumed that they always file something that, because of their litigious nature, that they're on point with their permits. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, possibly so. But anyway, shout out to Rainbow Trouble for organizing an excellent event. Everybody seemed to have a great time. We picked up some signatures and gave out some swag, and we're glad to be part of the community. And DSA was there proudly, and like I said, a bunch of other comrades as well. I saw a lot of people that I know.
Outstanding. That's good to hear, dude. And yeah, indoor in a chair on a day like this sounds pretty good, because it was hot today. Hot.
When I went back outside and got in my car, touching my steering wheel burned my hand. It was that hot.
Oh man. Goodness. Yeah. I went out, I had to bring the kids a couple places, and yeah, my translucent self does not hold up well in the sun. That's one of the great things about being in the Army, is you're always covered up. Like your head's covered up, your arms are covered up, your legs are covered up, you got gloves on. I I do remember one time though that I did get we were doing a change of command ceremony, and my ears got blistered from standing at attention and parade rest for several hours in the same spot. Oh yeah, but
Wow.
yeah, dude. Yeah,
That's no good. No bueno. But yeah, good time had by all. We couldn't hear like Joy says, we couldn't hear the crazies because we were inside and they were outside. And they were on their bullhorn saving our souls and saying other awful things.
somebody needs to run up on him with a electric razor and just like slice a little bit of that beard off.
Not that we would advocate causing trouble at Comrade's events.
This is all for entertainment purposes only. We are not lawyers. This is not legal advice. And all those other disclaimers. Maybe we should start shows with that.
Speaking only for ourselves. But no, it was a good time. And everybody seemed to have a great time. And there was a good vibe. And there was plenty of live entertainment and dancing. And, Huntsville has a killer drag community that seemed to be out supporting the event. And Rainbow Trouble puts on good organizations. So if you're on Facebook, give Rainbow Trouble a follow. And find them on Blue Sky and other places online. And
yeah, we need to have them on, as a matter of fact.
If they'll come on our show.
Oh, I'm sure they will. One of us can sweet talk them enough. But yeah. So yeah. With that, I think we're gonna try to rapidly run down some headlines. Federal courts.
One last thing, Rainbow Trouble was on Huntsville Progressive. So not long after they were formed, and after all the hullabaloo with Rocket City Pride, they appeared on Joy's show and gave a great interview. So look that up and listen to Joy's show, HSB Progressive, as well, because it's more professional than we are.
Yes, please do. Federal courts hear arguments in professors' students' lawsuit against anti-DEI laws. Federal judge is going to hear arguments Wednesday in a lawsuit alleging that anti-DEI law signed by Governor Kay Ivey violates constitutional rights of professors and students. This happened during football season, if I remember correctly. Lawsuit alleges that SB129 stifled instructional activity and violated the First and 14th Amendment rights of the plaintiffs. 2-day evidentiary hearing was held last week. And the bill bans public funding of DEI and the teaching of so-called divisive concepts. So, i.e. the history of the United States.
Right. This seems like a straightforward First Amendment case to me. I don't understand how the government can tell a university what they're allowed to teach and what they're not allowed to teach.
Yeah. And it affected a lot of stuff. There's a pretty in-depth article from Alabama Reflector if y'all want to check it out in more detail. What else we got? We did that one. Where are you? Relatedly, okay. So the Southeast Alabama Works to cease operations. Organization announced it will dissolve on September 30th due to decreased state funding from the Alabama Workforce Transformation Act. So Southeast Alabama Works has announced that it will be ceasing all operations come September 30th. It's one of 7 regional workforce councils in the state. Southeast Alabama Works is tasked with implementing strategies developed by the Alabama Workforce Council. Specifically, the organization focuses on serving local business and industries by fostering a skilled and educated workforce. Now, which is it y'all want? Do y'all want a skilled and educated or do y'all want to defund and destroy the public education system? Make up your minds, fascists. So yeah, this article goes on. This is on the alreporter.com. Gives you some more detail about the situation. But it's yeah, work STEM stuff, et cetera, you know. Like I said, you can't get enough training, you know, even people that are got a job, there's always something you can train on, you know. If you sit there and get stagnant on your skills or the new stuff that's coming out, like you get, you know, left behind. And but yeah, this fucking guy, Attorney General Steve Marshall calls for parole board chair's reappointment. During Lee Gwathny's tenure, Alabama's parole rates dramatically declined, earning her support from Marshall, but criticism from some lawmakers. So she got down to about an 8% release rate when I think it's mandated to be an 80% release rate.
According to their own recommendations.
Right. So
we've talked about Gwathny before
yeah.
in previous episodes.
But 76 district attorneys and local law officials signed the letter. And yeah, it goes into more detail. There's actually Chris England, Democrat Tuscaloosa, introduced legislation in 2025 to force guideline changes and greater overview. Senator Clyde Chambliss, Republican Prattville, also introduced legislation aimed at restructuring the board. So, but it looks like we'll get more of the same. But yeah, what else we got here?
Steve Marshall's running for Senate, so I guess he thinks he can burnish his tough on crime bona fides by supporting Lee Gwathny. Well, I'm sure he also genuinely supports her because he's a bad person.
Yeah. Bad haircut too.
Oh yeah.
Alabama
go hand in hand.
Alabama officials praise Supreme Court ruling on birthright citizenship injunctions. Yeah, Alabama leaders praise Supreme Court decision limiting the nationwide injunctions and allowing partial enforcement of Trump's birthright citizenship executive order. What I found curious in this article was Attorney General Steve Marshall again joined a 20-state amicus brief in support of the executive order, called the ruling a victory for constitutional government. Well, absolutely not. First off, that 20-state, like this was like these amicus briefs supporting Trump, they were at the like 24, 25 state rate a few months ago. And so it looks like some folks are pulling their heads out of their ass, but this is decidedly unconstitutional. It's right there in the Constitution, plain as day, and we got Katie Britt praising it, Tommy Tuberville praising it, Adderholt, so usual suspects. But yeah. But for now, Alabama officials see the ruling as a step towards restoring executive power and advancing one of the most controversial immigration policies of the Trump era, of which a majority of Americans do not like.
Yeah.
Relatedly, it's also related. State senator refiles bill to make removing Confederate monuments prohibitively expensive. So yeah, changing it from a $25,000 penalty to $5,000 a day. It costs $1.825 million annually to remove a memorial, and things like if something that was named after Robert E. Lee gets torn down and rebuilt, it needs to be renamed after Robert E. Lee. And this is, where is the, so State Senator Gerald Allen, Republican Tuscaloosa, has for years been pitching a bill that would change the fine from a relatively small one-time hit to the city's budget to a constant drain on taxpayer money. Yeah, pre-filed as Senate Bill 6. And so, yeah, we just got done with the legislative session and it's already starting again. You know what I mean? It's an eternal fight, folks. So rest when you have to, but yeah, keep in the fight. Yeah, exactly. And Corey says, I just love how they solve our real material problems. Exactly. This gun rights group sued Selma over gun-free zone. This Bama Carry Inc., an organization advocating for gun rights, announced Tuesday that it has filed a lawsuit against the city of Selma for the detainment and removal of one of its members who carried a gun into a gun-free zone. This is Alabama, not New York City, said Linda McKinney, president of Bama Carry. We don't tolerate this. I had to listen to this shit, dude. We don't tolerate jackbooted government thugs abusing citizens for merely exercising rights protected by the Constitution. Like the irony, just amazing. City of Selma has not only overstepped its legal authority, has stomped on the God-given rights of a peaceful citizen, and we intend to ensure they're held accountable in a court of law. So,
that guy went there looking for a lawsuit.
Oh, exactly. Absolutely. And it's not the first time. The person who was arrested, Blackman, outside a city council meeting following a dispute in 2018 about private security preventing him from bringing a firearm into the council chambers. Some officials at the time said Blackman pointed to plainclothes police officers in the council chamber who were armed and told Selma Police Chief Spencer Collier to arrest them for a felony for being armed in the chambers while off duty. Blackman was charged with disorderly conduct as the officer says he failed to follow orders from a law enforcement officer to cease disrupting the meeting.
So he's just one of these guys.
Yeah. I'm sure he's well, he can't be a sovereign citizen guy, right? With all that, but all the jackbooted thugs, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, you never know. He could be a sovereign citizen. He could be traveling and not driving.
Yeah. Hi, fellow traveler. Yeah, not a fellow traveler.
Not fellow travelers at all. Those guys are platoons.
Yeah. Alabama's volunteer lawyers program fills gap in civil justice. I just wanted to put this out there and give some awareness to this. This is like, it is a program. It's got in 2023, MVLP alone opened over 1,000 civil legal aid cases in Montgomery County and closed more than 900. That's not what I wanted to read. Okay. In Alabama, where nearly 30% of residents live at or below the federal poverty line, it's more than that. Access to affordable civil legal aid remains scarce. While the state provided no public funding for civil legal assistance, much of the burden falls on organizations like the state's 5 volunteer lawyer programs, which quietly serve as essential pillars of justice for low-income residents. But hyper-local nonprofits, 5 total, located in Montgomery, Madison, Birmingham, South Alabama, and 1 run by the state bar that serves the remaining 62 counties. Each operates independently but cooperatively. So, yeah, I just wanted to raise awareness of this program that's out there. They take donations. most of the program's financial support comes from private donors, local businesses, and grant-making organizations like the Alabama Law Foundation and the Alabama Civil Justice Foundation. So yeah, and they got people that volunteer. Currently 85 active volunteers and hopes to double that number. So yeah, good little program for the people out there. And speaking of attorneys discuss shifting legal landscape for Alabama's immigrants. Trump's immigration crackdown ripples through Alabama as workplace raids, attention surge, and legal experts warn of dire consequences for civil liberties and the state economy. So yeah, it's a pretty detailed article, but with the Trump administration aiming to widely restructure and expedite the deportation process of undocumented immigrants, immigration tensions have been spotted across Alabama. And we just mentioned in Mobile, the protest down there that's going to occur because they're ramping up. We're going to wait. We don't. All right, we ain't got alligators. What's our Auschwitz up here going to be called? Elephant Auschwitz?
I don't know. Yeah, we don't have any dangerous animals that I'm aware of, other than
we got that snake. Got a poisonous water snake. What the hell is it called? Or we got rattlesnakes?
Yeah, we got cottonmouths and
yeah, Cottonmouth Community Consortium. I don't know. That's some shit they name it. I don't know. But yeah, it goes into they're raiding work sites, doing traffic stops, for like checking seat belts and stuff like that. Getting construction workers. There's a workplace raid conducted by ICE in Gulf Shores on June 24th that led to the detention of 36 undocumented folks. But yeah, in the article, like I said, it goes on. It's pretty detailed into what's going on. But if I could get to it, yeah. So I really like this. And this is from a quote from this Garnett fella, which I think he's an immigration lawyer. But this quote down here: if we deport 10 million workers who are paying in Social Security, not getting anything out, which immigrant workers, there's this big rumor running around yet again that they get all these benefits and all of the Medicaid and all this other shit, which is horse shit. But if we deport 10 million workers who are paying in Social Security, not getting anything out, we, instead of us to be an insolvent in 2033, we're going to be insolvent in 2030 or sooner. That's going to be a catastrophe. So taxing the rich would solve that instantly. But yeah. And so a couple more things before we go. There was those floods out in out in Texas. There's an 8-year-old girl from Mountain Brook who was at that camp. And yeah, but you know, these weather events, whatever, are always going to happen. The weather's always going to happen, and climate change is going to exacerbate these things. You know, that I think it raised what was at 2 feet a minute, and raised like 26 feet. So in like 13 minutes, the water level raised like 26 feet.
Wow.
Yeah. And of course they're all blaming the weather forecasters for not putting stuff out when their budgets and people have been slashed. You know, that's another thing. They're trying to privatize the weather system. But yeah, this little girl who probably could have survived if the folks running that camp got a timely message from a institute that everybody uses, everybody relies on, and is being gutted and destroyed. And last little thing before we head on out, secrecy is not security. From Homewood, Alabama to Homeland Security, government hides what it fears. I thought this was a good little article by Kyle Whitmer. Donald Trump wants to hunt down and prosecute whoever leaked a U.S. intelligence report reporting his bombing raid on Iran's nuclear program was somewhat less than total obliteration. Meanwhile, the Department of Homeland Security is considering prosecuting CNN over an app called Ice Block. If you got an iPhone, get you an Ice Block, which helps people track their activity, not because CNN made the app, but simply because it reported the app exists closer to the home. Alabama law enforcement agency refuses to release body cam footage of a police officer shooting a man in Homewood, Alabama, despite a law that says the family of those shot by police may see the video. Investigators do not object.
Yeah, that's not what.
Yeah. While these things may not seem like they're connected, there's something important that they share, something that should alarm everyone. Prevalent belief shared by those in power that information belongs to the government, not to the public. Let's take each one by turn. Iran knows whether we blew up its nuclear program. They don't need anybody to tell them. There's no state secret laws by the New York Times and CNN reporting on what was the Iran intelligence report, which has been corroborated by the United Nations. The reason Trump administration is upset is because the report contradicts what the president wants the public to believe. It embarrasses him. Ice Block app lets the public watch what law enforcement is doing in public and in the name of the public. If that's a crime, Google Maps speed trap alerts are the worst offender. And supposing that it is illegal, when did it become a further crime for media outlets to report on illegal activity? That's not what Homeland Security is afraid of. The message here is, again, the same. We can watch you, but you cannot watch us. Aaliyah has also so far refused to allow the family of 18-year-old Jabari Peoples to see video of his killing because it says releasing that footage would affect the probe. The Alabama Supreme Court has ruled that police body cam footage is not public record in Alabama. Never mind that Alabama's right to know is why body cams came to be and how Alabama mayors sold the public on them a decade ago. Argument that releasing the footage somehow affects the investigation is absurd. This is not Schrodinger's police shooting, where the public gets to see the video does not change what happened. It only changes what the public knows. Aaliyah isn't afraid of disrupting the investigation. Aaliyah is afraid of how people might react. ICE is afraid friends and neighbors might share their feelings on the snatching of their friends. The president is afraid of being exposed. But here's the thing. When the government fears the people, that's a good thing. That means the people are in charge. Open records and open government empower citizens to hold officials accountable, whether that's the president of the United States bombing Iran, ICE officers sweeping the streets, or suburban police officers using deadly force on a teenager. The public has a right to know whether its government is doing, because public information helps protect the public from the government. Ostensibly, the government is supposed to work in the public's name. The public is supposed to be in charge, not the other way around. It's as simple as that. But instead of respecting that, officials at every level are setting a tone for how they want us to live. Knowledge is power, and power belongs only to them. So I thought that was a good little article. Mr. Whitmer sounds like an ally. So yeah, I think that's it for for everything. I think we made it through everything.
I think so. That's all I can think of.
Yeah. I appreciate everybody being here tonight.
Oh yeah, it's always a pleasure. I hope
yeah.
you guys get something out of the show. We do our best to prepare and offer something of value.
Yeah. So y'all do all the things for us, like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Don't stop fighting. Take a rest when you got to. Keep recruiting folks. Join a local organization. Get training. Go to events. Organize your workplace. Organize students, tenants, and workers. And yeah, hang fucking tough. And yeah, with that, folks, as we say, Jay, you got anything else?
I don't have anything other than another shout out to Rainbow Trouble for putting on such a great event today.
Shout out Rainbow Trouble. Solidarity out there with y'all. You know, with that, folks, as we say around here, all the power to all the people. We, the people, break our chains together. Good night, folks. Solidarity forever.
Solidarity forever.